Good evening. You're watching DMBC News or Darfur National Television with me, Jacob Berry. Today I'll be talking about the issues that are unfolding in Darfur nowadays, and I will start with the internal displaced people's problem that's absolutely recently been unfolded, and I'll be also talking about the shortage of a lot of things in Darfur. And then I will end up with the negotiations that are called by the government of Sudan. So first, let's start with the newly displaced people's concerns. So the so-called rapid forces in Sudan, which are the militias of the government or Janjaweed forces that are backed by the government of Sudan, are targeting every citizen in Darfur, and they are killing everyone, looting everything. And so they are now fighting against the people of Darfur. And at the same time, there are other group of people who are from Chad, who they call themselves the opposition of Chad. They're also targeting the people of Darfur and coming to steal the things from Darfur. And also fighting with the government of Chad at the same time. Well, there's another problem, though. The people of Darfur who were recently displaced and the people who were already in the refugee camps and internal displaced people sent letters through the local radios in Darfur and calling for the Security Council to take measures to try to tackle the problems over there in Darfur. And other issues also which is being discussed more on the media those days. It's about the government of Sudan, which is calling for the rebel forces to come to join the national dialogue. But here's the question, absolutely, that a lot of political analysts and the observers of Sudan or the crisis in Sudan, they will explain more, or they further say it about that dialogue. They even doubted about what will happen if the rebel forces with their, machine guns came to Khartoum to the negotiating table? That would be the end of revolution. That would be the end of the freedom. And that's why it's absolutely very dangerous move that the government of Sudan wants to, to topple the rebels instead of being toppled by the rebels. So my and the Darfur message to the fighters or freedom fighters would be like, you guys better not to think about that way at all, because that's a very dangerous step that would be taken. We have to read the government of Sudan carefully. What happens when they signed hundreds of thousands of treaties with different people in Sudan, and they are the same people who are absolutely committing atrocities everywhere in every corner in Sudan, and orchestrating, criminal and perpetrators of the genocide in Darfur, genocide in South Sudan, genocide in Nuba Mountain and Blue Niles, and also anywhere in Sudan that I may not know the name to name it. But this absolutely very dangerous government. So people in Sudan have to think very carefully how to topple that government rather than negotiating with, because I think the people of Darfur have absolutely very clear point if they really want to topple that government, or they would have freedom easily. The first thing that what they need to know is to change the calculus of fighting. They don't have to fight and go. No, they really have to take over the land. They have to form the government anywhere they have taken and raise their own flag and constitute their own constitution that will be based on humanitarian laws, rather than the Islamic law or any religious law that can be legislature of our nation. It's not going to work well. So to give freedoms to the people over there. So they have to open that door first. They don't have to defend only and stay. It's absolutely, if you look at the football games, for example, if you don't have a striker, if you just have defenders and the goalkeeper, so you will be defeated for so many times, or you will spend so long in terms of scoring the goal, or you may not even score the goal until the game overs. So I don't want my fellow Darfurs to do the same. I want them to attack. I want them to have strikers. I want them to take over every city in Darfur, rather than just saying, okay, there will be a lot of people killed. I know that thousands of people will be killed and thousands of people were already killed, but what is the best interest of the people of Darfur? To die once and then change the government, or to be dying forever? Because this is something that's going on since we were born. And to try to topple the government is not an easy job. You first have to push him in a place where it absolutely affects it. Now, if the government knows that this is very effective and those people are really going to topple me, or they're going to take over the region, so he might also come to the negotiating table. But when he doesn't know that there is absolute balance of power or a counterpower to the government, it can't absolutely even consider people, so it will continue to kill people. And to eradicate the so-called rapid forces that are being formed newly by the government of Sudan, that are replacing Moshe Hilal, the former leader of Janjaweed, who orchestrated, atrocities against people of Darfur. Now the rapid forces are, very strong, and they're killing everyone in Darfur. Now, my fellow citizens, you have to think about this and try to, to unite yourself, the people of Darfur. And, you don't have to have, this is called SLM, and it's called SLM in Minau, Abdul Wahid, or, whatever, or it's called GM, of XY. No, it's supposed to be one movement that's supposed to work for the interests of Darfur. And they have to fight against the government. You have to have clear mandate and a policy, political will that will change and will govern our nation. So that's a focus that people have to focus on. But if we just say, okay, so my mentality is different than that, absolutely we know that, but this is supposed to be the parliament of Darfur after we liberate the country. We can't just, have different ideas, a bunch of ideas, while they are not working. We had to choose the best idea that will be operating in the interest of our nation. So we have to be patriotic. The patriotism will be working the best. And also we have to, to have a plan. If the plan A didn't succeed, we'll put plan B and C. So both people are calling for the union of Sudan and to be united Sudan. But that would be the plan, C in my perspective. The plan is supposed to be how to get rid of the government of Sudan from Darfur, and Darfur will be under our own government. Then we can negotiate if we want to decide whether we want Darfur as a state or be part of Sudan. But if we just focus on something that's very wide and large and we don't have power for it, so we will, rather than liberating the entire Sudan, we will lose Darfur, which we have already lost, I think. And so those negotiations are counterfeit. I think they are counterfeit exactly because the people who call themselves the national dialogue, powers, they are the parties that you can sell or buy them in a minute. So those are absolutely a bunch of governmental organizations, but they are branches that are different. And also, if you look at the story, the history of those people, and you read what they did before to the people of Darfur, I think there is no difference between them. So both of them are the same people. There is no difference. So we don't have to lose ourselves for something that's not interesting. So we, the people of Darfur, are supposed to focus on our Darfur issues, and the people of Nuba Mountain, Blue Nile, have to focus on their issues. Then we have to come to the closing table, which is called the referendum between us. So we will have an understanding between us what we need to do. The general perspective is to topple the government of Sudan, but we have to be strong to do that. And we have, first of all, to topple the local governments in our areas. So local governments are the government that are supporting the central government. Because if you don't have like a state governor and who is pumping the money of that state to the central government, and they are absolutely the puppets of the government because they are targeting every citizen of that country. So you can't have peace. When the government knew that the governor of a state is already overshadowed by the rebel forces or the freedom fighters or the owners of the land, then he will have to think about what measures he will take, whether to negotiate or to leave the land for the natives of population. In my perspective, I think this is a time for a native to strive and put up something that's very proper to tackle the problem in Darfur. The crisis of our moms, the crisis of our children, the crisis of our brothers and sisters in the camp can't be finished until we liberate Darfur. And that liberation is supposed to start now, not by the way that people are doing now, but with new beginning, which will include the inclusiveness of the whole Darfur people, the inclusive ideas, and also the inclusive materials that will be toppling the local governments first before the central government. If you don't have power to fight directly with the central government, you need to control the local government, take over everything you have there, and then the same weapons that local governments use against our people in the village and everywhere, you can take those weapons and turn them toward the central government. That will be the solution of our problem. Thank you for watching Darfur Television. I'll be broadcasting more issues about Darfur and the entire Africa as a whole. Thank you, and see you next time with different programs.